Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Wolfeei Extras. Today, we're going to be talking about invitationals. But first, I am sick still, unfortunately, just as a heads up. So if you hear any sniffles or whatever, I apologize. Also, I probably sound a little different. That's fine, though. Also, let me know your thoughts and who would win. Anyways, today, we have this tweet, which isn't necessarily the reason I want to talk about this. I wanted to talk about invitationals in general. It's just that coincidentally, someone tweeted about it and a lot of people shared their opinion. So this is a perfect opportunity for a mogul mail. The tweet says the commercialization of Minecraft events has been one of the worst things that had ever happened to the event community. This is, of course, an opinion, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I personally disagree, of course, but today I wanted to go into some of these replies and kind of look through what people said and share my thoughts and opinions regarding those bits of feedback, I guess. First of all, we should probably get into the clarification for what this person meant. Now, I very briefly looked through this, and they made some replies to a post I can't see that kind of showcases what specific part they're talking about. Because commercialization is a bit vague. Commercialization could be invitationals, it could be brand partnerships, essentially anything that involves money or selling things, right, regarding Minecraft events. But in replies, they say, I'm watching people spend more on a single event than my local council gives me to eat food because I'm not financially stable. Playing events was always a fun thing for me, but I can't even do that now, and I'm not the only one who suffers from that. It's an unequal opportunity, which showcases they're talking about people spending money on a single event, probably means invitational, right? So, sure, right? Again, entitled to your own opinion. I disagree. Let's get into some of the replies, and I'll share my thoughts. So, first, there's very interesting. This person said the fact that some of the most popular and best events are asking for thousands for them to host an invitational event for someone is insane now. The last I heard, someone paid around $3,000 just to have an event hosted for them. I won't name the event because I don't know what that means. LOL. It's funny because this kind of contradicts itself within the thing. We'll get to that. Ranater, organizer of or one of the main staff for Minecraft. Nope, not Minecraft Mayhem. For Chamber Trials. My bad. Says they're not asking anyone to pay thousands. It is fully on the decision of the buyer, and they could simply not commission the event if they don't think that price is fair. This is true. Invitationals have a price attached to them, right? For blockwars, which is the one they're referring to, it's $3,000. If you don't want to spend that, you don't do the invitational. It's not like we're trying to negotiate with people to be like, well, actually, Feinberg asked, and he's popular. Let's ask him for 5,000. Like, that's not how it works, right? It's just three. It doesn't matter who you are. It costs 3K for Block Wars. For PB, it's 1,000. For CT, I think it's like 500 or something. Maybe a little more, a little less. I don't remember. I don't know about other events. Doesn't really matter. It's a set cost. The only time where the cost is different is when it's a company trying to advertise stuff or whatever, right? Because it's a company trying to advertise stuff. It's not just they want to play, it's they want to play and advertise something. So the cost changes. Very simple. Anyways, yeah, the fact that some of the most popular and best events, keep that in mind, most popular, best events are asking for thousands is insane. Literally, kind of contradictory. You're already implying this is a high quality event. So saying that asking for a lot of money is insane feels contradictory because how it works, if I were to kind of go backwards, right? If I were a company, for example, and I wanted to host a Minecraft event, a custom Minecraft event, blah, 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 whatever, have it made, and then, present it to the public, the amount of money that would cost is way higher than this. or possibly even how much it costs to host an MCC. I don't know what the MCC cost is. If I had to guess, it's probably 10 to 20K, if not higher. I don't know what the actual number would be, but probably pretty significant. The amount of money it would cost to start an event from scratch at the level of quality of any of the Minecraft events, really, but for example, Block Wars is second best Minecraft event. At that level of quality, the amount of time and money it takes to get to that point far exceeds the cost of 3K. It would cost you way more, and that's resources, staff hours, to be labor cost essentially, right? Getting the right people, higher skilled people will cost more to hire, right? Etc. It costs way more. So that's one. Then, different comment. I don't know, I feel like events need a way to earn money other than like patrons. What else are they supposed to do? Great point. We've seen many events, well, we've seen MCC and Block Wars try to get partnerships for events. For Block Wars, sorry, there was, of course, the Chipotle one, and then there was the Twitch Rivals one, and then there was this year the Movember one and the Twitch Rivals one again. 2 a year for the past 2 years is decent, but could be way better. Look at MCC, for example. They have the Twitch Rivals twice a year. They had the Lego event this year, and last year they had the Ender Cup one, so that's 3 a year, and those are way bigger deals than what Blockwars is getting, of course, for example. I'm sure MCC would want to do more if they could. It's just difficult, right? Selling a Minecraft event to a company, essentially being like, hey, this is interesting for you, is kind of difficult. Especially when there's so many options and you have to communicate what the Minecraft event is, it's tricky. So that option is not only very difficult to get to, sponsorships, but it's a difficult just in itself. Getting to the point where you can get a sponsorship is hard, but getting the sponsorship itself is also hard, right? So your other options are merchandise, which MCC has done, but like I don't know how well that's gone for them. I'm assuming it's like decent, but not fantastic. And no other event I think has tried it, because realistically, most of the event's audience are attached to the people in the event, not the event itself, right? The only event that has an attached audience really is MCC, or at least a significant one. So that's difficult. So merchandise is pretty much off the table as well, mostly, I would say. Sorry. Then there's patrons, or just having a way to donate to an event, essentially, for behind the scenes content, or just giving an event money just because you enjoy the event and want to support them, which is fine, good, nice, right? But not enough. in reality, it's not going to be enough to be able to sustain your event. So then your other option is letting people pay for an event, which I think is good. That's the invitational option. I think that makes sense, right? It's good, in my opinion, at least. Because, here's another response. I'm going to be fully honest, I just disagree, because it increases accessibility so that people who don't get to play events can and the owners and staff of the events have an actual way to profit off of the large amount of work they put into events. It's like an artist getting a commission. Kind of, to an extent, yeah. Profit is a tough tough one. I think I don't know how this goes for CT. I don't know how this goes for PB. Of course, server costs and other costs are always going to be a thing. I assume at this point, most events have probably netted their profits to their costs. I think it's probably at least compensated for a lot of that, for the most part. I do agree with accessibility. That's a very big thing, of course. There's a lot of people who just realistically will never get into certain events, especially the higher you get in terms of invitational. Block Wars being realistically the top one right now, because MCC, we've only seen it once, and that was a company. So Block Wars, of course, getting into Block Wars is tricky, especially because the creator event, even if you're a Minecraft creator, your odds are pretty low. to get into the creator event for the most part. And then Origins is tied to the player roster quite a lot, so that is pretty tricky as well. So getting into Block Wars is kind of hard. So an invitational is a great opportunity, of course, 100%. Then you have PB, doesn't even exist right now, really. The only way to play PB is an invitational because it doesn't run any events right now. So that's a whole different situation, but same thing, PB also has a main event and an Origins type of event. Same thing, right? Etc. It trickles down, of course. So yeah, I mean, accessibility definitely is a good point in favor of hosting an invitational. And giving money back to the work that's put into events is definitely very important as well. It helps fund the devs and staff further and allows a lot of relatively unknown players and creators to have the spotlight enjoy playing an event they usually wouldn't be able to play. I really don't see the problem. Kind of in the same boat as this post. I agree. I think, I think a lot of, like mentioned, a lot of relatively unknown players have a spotlight, 100%, and helps fund the devs and staff. Yeah, of course, 100%. It helps fund the event more so, but in turn, it does give an opportunity to give back to the staff and pay them in some way, shape, or form. Realistically, no event is going to fairly compensate their staff with the money earned from invitationals. It's just not possible. Like, that's just fully not possible. The only event that pays their staff fair wages is MCC, because, reminder, MCC is run by a company, Noxtra, right? So, different situation. Next, this person says, I agree to an extent. I think it's a good thing that event owners are able to take some money home, take home some form of income from the effort they put into events they make. Agreed. On the other hand, it's draining the exclusivity of events a lot. I can see this. Having events hosted every week with very similar rosters, because let's face it, the same people are hosting a lot of these invitationals. I'm unaware of that. Is killing off the appeal of the actual official events. Imagine MCC host an event every week. It would get boring really quick. I do agree with that to an extent. I don't think that's the goal necessarily, or like the main appeal of the invitationals. I do agree though. I think having events with the same gameplay, the same whatever, hosted that frequently can kill off the excitement in general for an event. I wouldn't necessarily say the excitement of a regular or like a main event or whatever, right? But I do agree it makes things very samey. Look at early 2025 Block Wars. There were like 4 invitationals in the first, or technically 5 invitationals in the first 5 months, plus the regular main events, plus Origins. It almost was a weekly Block Wars experience, and that was a lot. It was a lot. People were very reasonably so critical of the amount of events that were hosted from Block Wars at the time, and kind of got tired of Block Wars at the time as well. Now, of course, midway through in late 2025, we rectified that a little bit, but it was a big issue, and one of the main reasons why that break early into the year was needed for Block Wars, or like halfway through the year was needed for Block Wars, because of the oversaturation of said event. So yeah, the event space has been pretty dry in 2025, but that wasn't because of the lack of events being hosted. It was because of the lack of variety. I would much rather have monthly or bi-monthly events with a different one every single week than the same events every single week. I agree. This is an unreasonable or unrealistic expectation, of course, and I'm sure this person is aware of that. Like, there's not what they say, monthly by monthly with a different one every single week. This would set the expectation for there being 4 to 8 high quality events happening on a monthly or bi-monthly basis consistently throughout the year. That's not the situation we're at right now. There's MCC, which happens almost monthly, Block Wars, which happens as of right now pretty much monthly, but it won't be like exactly monthly in 2026. PB only has invitationals. CT is a bi-monthly event that has a Patreon event and invitationals, so it's probably close to monthly at this point. buy and battle is pretty much not a thing right now, etc. Plus, a lot of the viewers that are interested in these events don't like all of these events. I know that, for example, there's a pretty big distinction between people who enjoy watching Pandora's Box and people who watch Buy and Battle, because they're very different events. They appeal in very different ways, right? So, yeah, that's another thing. Like, it's not like there are 8 events of the same caliber or the same level of appeal. There are 8 vastly different type of events. Even if you look at an MCC versus Block Wars, MCC is appealing to the Minecraft audience mostly, and Block Wars is appealing to a lot of the variety audience mostly. I think it's kind of a 50-50, but like, yeah, right. Obviously, very different audiences it's trying to appeal to. So that's another big thing to factor in terms of like, I would rather have this. I agree, this would be great if possible. It's just not possible, right? Anyways. Lastly, there's this this little string as well. The only thing I can think of as oversaturation has been my reason personally. Events like PB and Shermatros just aren't really special anymore. Considering PB isn't going to have a regular event for a while, I think it's fair to open it to the market in the meanwhile. No, 100% agree. If people want to watch PB, the only way they can see or watch PB or play PB or whatever is an invitational. And I think it's nice. I feel like it's been good for PB to be able to exist at all from these invitationals. I don't really see the downside. Sure, oversaturation to an extent is a thing. I think that's mostly in regards to how frequently these events are happening back to back. I think depending on how the demand lasts in 2026, for PB, if like they had 10 total invitationals that they were going to get before their first official regular event, right? And their first official regular event, for example, is in like December 2026, which I think might actually be too early, but who cares, right? 5 of them have already happened, and we're not even in 2026 anymore. Yeah, sure, if there's 5 remaining, theoretically, or hypothetically rather, spreading that across pretty much the entire year would then make for too much of a gap. If that was to be more spread out, it would be better. Sure, I agree with that. But it's either you get PB like this, or you get nothing. I'd rather see it a little bit, right? Funnily enough, I haven't watched any of the invitationals because I just don't really watch events besides MCC because this channel. But point still stands. You either get something or nothing. So this all depends on how much content you're consuming. This has been an issue before invitationals started popping up. Partially agree. The Block Wars, good example. If you watch Block Wars main event and Origins, I can understand why you would feel maybe some level of oversaturation for Block Wars, plus the invitationals, etc. Like if you watch every event, I can see it. But at that point, it's your choice to watch every event. Realistically, you know that, like, at least as of right now, the main event and the Origins have the same gameplay inclusion. Of course, they'll play out differently because one of them is generally lower comp and one of them is generally higher comp, but it's the same games. If you were to watch something for the event and you want to see the certain games, blah, blah, whatever, they're the same. So you could choose to watch one or the other instead of both, right? For example. I think the special aspect of Minecraft events has died long ago because of a 5-year period of their influx. Watching people play them for that long isn't fun, and recreating against the creator's wishes is less than desirable. I do agree with that. Recreations are stinky. I also do agree with the special aspect of Minecraft events having died long ago. To an extent, I agree with that. I think that's a mix of the general popularity of events being less than, of course, peak MCC, whatever, blah, 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 5 years ago. That, of course, has gone down a lot, but I also feel like the Minecraft event community is actually a lot more tied together now, and I think it's become more openly talked about as well. Initially, with MCC, you wouldn't really hear anything, in my opinion at least, from how things work, and now you hear a lot more about how things work to an extent. Of course, with Block Wars, I'm a lot more outspoken in terms of like how things work. I think A lot of event organizers are just a lot more interactive with the community now than they used to be, in my opinion. I think that is also making things feel less special because it feels more like a unified group of internet nerds, essentially, right? Than essentially people presenting a show for an audience to watch exclusively like that. So yeah. Anyways, that's this post. Oh, not that one. This post, and my response to it. In conclusion, I think the invitational addition in 2025 to the Minecraft event community is an overall positive. It's making things more accessible, which I think is good. It allows it allows the events to get some get back for their efforts put into events, and I think it makes some events actually happen. PB, for example, rather than not. I think that's good. I, however, do agree that it can introduce a level of oversaturation to specific events. I think the event scene overall isn't really oversaturated as much now because the same people aren't playing in an event every single week, in my opinion. At least not some of the like main event players. For the most part, I think, like an Ant Frost, a Shane, whoever, right? So I don't think that's that big of a deal, but I do agree that some events might get slightly oversaturated because of invitationals or whatever, right? Anyways, that's my opinion. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.